In StarCraft 2 co-op, there are 60 mutators. These mutators can be divided into 7 categories: vision, economic, environmental, pacing, acrobatic, multitask, and head-on. Vision mutators affect the player's vision. Economic mutators affect the player's economy. Environmental mutators make it difficult to move around the map. Pacing mutators make it slower for the player to do the objective. Acrobatic mutators require players to adjust their playstyles. Multitask mutators require players to be in multiple places at once. And head-on mutators are mutators that the player has to deal with head-on. Today we'll be covering the rest of the head-on mutators. First one is Evasive Maneuvers. It's annoying, but it's manageable. They only blink every few seconds, so you can hit them while they're not blinking. The only commander that suffers a lot is Artanis, because his Tempest and his Dragoons have a slow rate of fire and their projectiles, so you'll miss some shots. Your AoE spells like Psystorm and Psionic Orb will be weaker because the enemies will scatter when you hit them. Long range is often underestimated. The enemies get more sight range as well, so their static D can see your observers from further away. You might need more units to tank damage because they'll hit you before you get close. For Hardened Will, use AoE to get rid of non-heroic units more quickly. Units with low damage, such as Marines and Zerglings, can just ignore this mutator. For Part and Parcel, the trains will have Hardened Will, so any enemies near the trains will reduce the damage. Same with the Mobius Hybrid. And for Void Thrashing and Temple of the Past, enemies near the Thrashers will protect them. For Dead of Night, the Special Infested and the Nidus Worm, so pay attention to those two. Void Shards on Rifts to Core Hall, the Void Slivers and the Death Grip Crystal on Scythe of Amon, the Shuttles in Void Launch, and the Constructs in Cradle of Death. For Inspiration, unless there's Hardened Will, you should kill the heroic unit first so that they stop giving the nearby units buffs. The heroic structures from Hardened Will, the same ones, also have Inspiration, and these two often come together, so you probably want to kill the little units, the regular units, as soon as possible. For Alien Incubation, you want to have AoE or else you'll get surrounded. The Broodlings tend to be very fast, and when there's a lot of them, you're going to get surrounded really quickly. Terran Mules will produce Broodlings, the enemies. They'll produce Broodlings after they expire, so you might be attacked at like 1 minute 30 or something. It's really early. For Just Die, enemies will revive with full energy, so beware of spellcasters like Hybrid Dominators, DCs, and a lot of Ravens, Terran units. Most non-structure objectives also have 2 lives: Void Thrashers, Shuttles, Trains, Constructs. The Mobius Hybrid does not have 2 lives, thank goodness. Life Leech. So if you use shields, not the Protoss shields, but if you use a shield ability such as Nova's Defensive Drone, Gary's Green Zone Overcharge, Artanis Shield Overcharge, the enemies will not leech any life. Most commanders deal with it just fine, but Stukov and Manx notice this a little more than others. For P3, the Infested Trail is significantly weaker, and Dogs of War is also really weak, much weaker, because the enemies will just keep leeching life when they attack you. For Barrier, enemies only have 1 barrier, even if they have Just Die, so you can use AoE to trigger their barrier, run away, and then attack them after 5 seconds after the barrier wears off. For Speed Freaks, it's not really threatening on its own, but when it's in combination with other mutators like Mutually Assured Destruction, Propagators, or Boombots, it can be very, very scary. Adjust your strategies because enemies will arrive sooner than usual, and you can use structures to stall the enemies so that your army can get there. The best way to deal with this is actually to split your army if you can. Walking Infested. Similar to Alien Incubation, you need AoE or else you might get surrounded. However, it's less threatening than Alien Incubation because the civilians are slower. Note that in Minor Evacuation, the Infested that spawn will have double life. For Transmutation, just like the Life Leech ones, if you use a shield, you will prevent them from transmutating. So this one is a little tricky because which units should you prioritize when you're fighting? You should prioritize units with a high rate of fire because enemies transmutate they have a chance to transmutate when they attack you. So if they have a high rate of fire, such as like a Marine, they have a higher chance of transmuting to something stronger. Units that might transmutate to a hybrid should be killed so that they don't become hybrids, and also carriers, broodlords, and swarm hosts because they keep spawning little things that can transmutate into other stuff. Once a unit has transmutated to a hybrid, you might actually want to kill the other units so that there won't be even more hybrids. Since the biggest hybrid, the behemoth or dominator, can't transmutate again anyways. You should put some static D or units at home in case some units slip by, because if they don't have anywhere to go, they will attack any buildings that they have seen before. Suihaka, Ultimate Evolutions, and Phoenix's champs don't count as heroes, so when these guys die, they won't transmutate immediately to a hybrid. You can also clear a strong encampment by intentionally letting some units transmutate and then fighting them at home, where you might be waiting for them with lots of static D. This is a good way for Zagara to clear some encampments. Commanders that are strong versus ground and not so strong versus air can actually intentionally let units transmutate into ground units, so that way you can deal with them even more easily. Here's a list of all the transmutation tiers. Any units that are not on this list will transmutate to tier 2 units. The most notable ones are Guardians, Devourers, and Aberrations. For Avenger, if you use AoE spells or abilities, you might cause the remaining units to become extremely strong because you're going to kill a lot of units at the same time. For Temple of the Past and Void Thrashing, don't blindly kill units near the Thrashers because the Thrashers can get Avenger and they will kill the Temple or Hammer's Fortress a lot more quickly. And that's it. So like and subscribe if you like this content, and hope this was helpful for you. So that's it. Class dismissed. See you all next time.